Live from Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. Rivers Assembly suspends impeachment proceedings against Governor Fubara and Deputy after President Tinubu's intervention. DSS closes case against 5 defendants standing trial over 2022 attack on our Catholic Church in Ondo State. King Charles backs brother's arrest, says Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor must face the law on suspicion of misconduct in public office.
In business, CBN warns rapid expansion of private digital payment platforms and stablecoins threatens foreign exchange stability.
And in sports, 6-time African Women's Player of the Year, Asisat Oshoala, dropped ahead of international friendlies against Cameroon. Details in a moment.
Tonight begins now. Welcome. The Rivers State House of Assembly has discontinued impeachment proceedings against Governor Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. This is coming weeks after the intervention of President Bola Tinubu, who met with the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, the governor, and some stakeholders in the state. The decision was announced during Thursday's sitting in Port Harcourt. Lawmakers had earlier accused the governor of gross misconduct, including unauthorized spending and the demolition of the assembly complex. Previous efforts to remove the executive were stalled by court rulings and political disputes. For this conversation, we're joined by Professor Iyala Peter Said. He is a Rivers State stakeholder. He joins me alongside a legal practitioner, Osigwe Momo. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I'll start with you, Prof. As a Rivers State stakeholder, how do you think the halt in impeachment proceedings will impact the stability and governance of the state, considering the allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Fubara and his deputy? Also, the fact that this is the 3rd time an impeachment proceeding has been halted.
Thank you, Felicity. I think that as a Nigerian, as a Rivers citizen, I welcome the ceasefire, because that's what I call this. It's a ceasefire because this is the 3rd iteration, as you said before, of this events, and hope that this is the beginning of a prolonged disarmament process and hopefully some resolution of the disputes that were at stake. The problem for me is twofold. One, we don't know the details of the agreements that were set. How different are they from the ones that were set before? And 2, we have to see that the interests of the Rivers people have been protected by whatever agreements were reached by the president and the contestants vis-a-vis the governor and the FCT minister.
Osigwe Momo, what are the legal implications of the Rivers State Assembly's decision to halt impeachment processes, and what precedents do you think this sets?
That our politicians and our lawmakers are more interested in politics, and none of them have any, or none of them appear to have any regard for our sacred constitution. You know, impeachment should be a sacred duty that should be apolitical. People should face it because the constitution mandated it. But it's almost like a mockery. It's almost as if any time a politician has run foul of the political leaders, somebody would just run into Section 188 and just start, you know, making a nuisance of some sort. I believe that if the lawmakers had respected the people, respected the Constitution, they will not, you know, whimsically jump into this process just for glaring political purposes. And when Mr. President suspends it, they say, oh, it's okay. Okay, so the question is, so why were you in this process in the first place? If you think it can be politically solved, if you think that the governor has committed, according to the Constitution, gross misconduct, something so intolerable, so unstomachable that you need to kick him out, and you started this process in the first place, how then is it so easy to just suspend it? Of course, it tells you that these people don't care about our Constitution, they don't care about the laws, they just, they have trivialized this process, they've made a mockery of it, and years to come, we expect more of the same. It's a bad precedent generally. It's odious, it's despicable, it's sad. Every Nigerian could see from the one that this was just a charade. And yeah, sad as it is, they have no respect. It should be one of the last things you should do, to impeach an elected governor or president. Yeah, indirectly, the Constitution gave you that leeway to usurp the will of the people of some sorts. And before you take that duty, you need to tell yourself that the entire people who voted for this man, if indeed there was voting in the first place, there was a reason why their decision has been suspended. You don't jump into that process, insult our sensibility, waste our money, left that state ungovernable, and because you came out of Aso Rock, you decide to forget the people that matters, which is the real electorate of Rivers State. Power should come from Rivers State, from Ogoni, from Buguma, from Degema, and not from Aso Villa or whoever the president or however the political parties decide to run it. It's sad, generally speaking. I don't think as Nigerians we should stomach this and we should forget this. We should remember that our politicians are making a mockery of our entire political process.
All right, Prof, the president's intervention, a lot of persons have commended, but then again, there were court cases that has been suspended, and the House is now saying they are only doing this because of the intervention of the president. But the allegations were huge, gross misconduct and other allegations. Are they now satisfied that the governor is innocent? Is this a political, I mean, the lawyer alluded to that every time there is an issue, the impeachment will be brought up, or this is a lasting solution?
As my friend Momo just said, this was always political. And when you trump up charges and have no basis for them, then it's easy to put them aside when it's convenient. I think that the move to impeach the governor, the elements of the impeachment were clearly political. So the political solution they have finally reached, which they should have reached a long time ago so that the state can move forward. I agree with Mr. Momo that the problem we have in Nigerian politics is that our structure, we're not building structures that are stable and are reproducible and creating precedents that we can rely on. The courts, the executive, and the judiciary are not helping us create a stable democratic process. What I mean by stable is a democratic process that is not varied, that does not depend on the whims and caprices of politicians and legislators, that will have systems that can withstand the time based on our Constitution and all the interpretation thereof. And unfortunately, that's not the case. This is not the first time that a governor has been impeached for no reason. This is not the first time a governor has been threatened with impeachment on flimsy excuses, and it will not be the last until our courts and our members of assembly and the legislature find a backbone to push back against these frivolous activities. This will continue to happen. Democracy is still very young relative to most, and it's important that we lay down foundations that are strong enough to resist the caprices and whims of politicians, because they will always do what they want. But we have to have institutions that support the Constitution and back up the Constitution. And unfortunately, that has been failing, especially from the judiciary.
Sigwe Momo, the Speaker, in announcing the withdrawal of the impeachment proceedings, said it was dependent on the governor withdrawing the cases in court. I can't remember all the details now, but we know that at some point in the conflict, when the matter went back to court and the governor had already withdrew his case from the court, he paid a penalty for that action. This time, if you recall the case, you might just tell us about it. This time, how confident are you that the governor will not regret his actions of withdrawing cases that were meant to take him out of office?
All of us can be confident. You know, this is an ongoing issue. I see a lot of landmines in it. I hope that, you know, there will be peace for the people of Rivers State. But quite frankly, not all the issues for the impeachment, I'll come to the second leg of the question anyways, not all the issues for the impeachment were completely flimsy or frivolous. For crying out loud, the assembly complex was razed down. And we have good reasons to believe that it was the executive governor of Rivers State that was directly or indirectly involved, or he has not done anything in his power to confirm those who brought down the legislative building, i.e. the seats of legislature in the states. So it's an affront to the Constitution. That is, in my opinion, and I want to believe in almost every sound thinking person's opinion, that is gross misconduct. If indeed we can link that to the governor. We know that there was going to be impeachment proceedings, and in a tawdry manner, the building came down. That has to be something. And if somebody comes up tomorrow to say this is an issue, we're not talking of the rest, you know, trump up charges. This is a concern because it happened sometime in Edo State, if I'm not mistaken, and we don't want it to happen tomorrow. So there are some of these issues that can come out. The process again can start for impeachment, and we may be back to square one.
I certainly hope not. Just to forestall that, Professor Peter's side, how do we prevent a regression to the crisis that brought us here? Is this, I mean, the president has intervened, but we don't know the details of this agreement. So in your thoughts, if you were to put advice out, what would it be?
Smart man once said that the absence of war does not mean the presence of peace. I think we've been here before. We need to see the process play out. The governor has acquiesced in dissolving his cabinet. Hopefully he will submit a list that is to the assembly that is acceptable to the FCT minister and his supporters. The House of Assembly has offered an olive branch by, you know, suspend. They did not withdraw the impeachment, by the way. They suspended it, meaning that it is still in play. So this process needs to move forward, and let's see where the dots and the T's are crossed. I'm hoping that as the elections are coming close, that is in the best interest of everybody to lay down their arms and make some progress in governing the state so that they can have something to claim when they come back for our votes. Am I certain that this is going to happen? Do I have any confidence? No, because I think that the personalities involved are very strong, and I like to see some compromise between them and find a middle ground to get the state moving.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for obliging us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Coming up, bandits kill Ondo traditional ruler in an attack on his palace. A really sad one. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. Rivers Assembly suspends impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and Deputy after President Tinubu's intervention. DSS closes case against 5 defendants standing trial over 2022 attack on Owo Catholic Church in Ondo State. And King Charles backs brother's arrest, says Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor must face the law on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Oba Kainde Falodun, the Alagomo of Agamo in Akure North, Ondo State, has been killed during an attack by suspected bandits on his palace. Police say the assailants attempted to kidnap but fatally hacked the monarch in the process. Divisional officers, tactical units and local security groups including Otuluse Security, Hunters and Amote cooperatives are combing nearby bushes in search of the attackers. Staying in Ondo, the Department of State Services has closed its case against the defendants standing trial over the 2022 attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo. The prosecution team, led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Ayodeji Adedipe, concluded its case after presenting its 11th witness, codenamed SSK. The witness, a digital forensic lead with the DSS Counterterrorism Department, testified to the court that investigators applied geospatial network filtering and cell tower triangulation techniques, narrowing thousands of mobile phone records to that of the first defendant, Idris Omeza, which led to his arrest.
We called 11 witnesses, and if some of you were in the court, I believe you must have listened to their testimonies. All I can tell you is that we are satisfied. We are not the one to determine the case, and the defendants still have the opportunity to defend themselves in the court. Thereafter, the judge will determine the case. So, we are good.
I have a case, of course. I have a case, of course. You could, if you are in the court, I told you that the statement presented, we are not from here. So, and this one was from Akure, and they say they don't have any statement in Akure. No problem. No problem. We'll open defense.
INEC has commenced distribution of election materials to the 6 councils of the Federal Capital Territory ahead of Saturday, February 21st area council election. The INEC FCT Commissioner Aminu Idris, during the distribution exercise, expressed the Commission's readiness for the poll, saying that with strategies already put in place, it will be difficult to manipulate the poll. He appealed to voters to come out en masse to cast their votes.
Well, we are now at the second to the last stage of deployment. We are trying to deploy the ballot papers and the result sheets to the area councils. As you might have heard a logistics officer explaining to the party agents that all the result sheets and the ballot papers are color-coded. Like this is one of the, let me just hold it up for you. You see the colors for each of the area councils. So there's no chance of moving one ballot paper or result sheet between any area council. So each of the electoral officers is here. He will verify by serial numbers, and then he will receive the ballot paper and the result sheets.
I was here before 8. I came quite early in the morning. I was the first person to come here before the INEC officials started coming. So I joined them to the store where the materials were packed, and we monitored how it was brought out to this particular area. So far, they've been quite good.
Each of the ward, the INEC have tried and designed them in a way that it will be very difficult for manipulation, because you cannot take, for instance, ballot paper from Musia and come to city center and cast your vote. They make it very difficult. So I think I can say they have tried, and so far it's excellent.
Based on the explanation and what we have seen so far and the arrangement by the INEC, we are confident that the election is going to be credible and transparent and free and fair for everybody.
Normal activities have resumed along the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway after a clash between protesting minibus drivers and security operatives over the bus reform initiative. Drivers had blocked the Ajah axis for hours on Wednesday before police restored order. News Center's Israeli Firubol reports.
Normalcy has returned to the busy Lekki-Ekpe corridor. barely a day after protests disrupted movement and business activities. Dozens of mini-bus drivers, popularly referred to as Korope, had earlier demonstrated against restrictions limiting them to inner roads.
We can't fight the government. We are only using this avenue to plead to our government and the special advisor to the governor, which is Sholagiwa, that he should please consider the predicament of people feeding on transportation.
Authorities say the reform aims to ease congestion and improve safety. The Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority adds that consultations were held with transport unions before implementation.
We are not saying move away from the corridor. What we are saying, we want to reorganize you. These buses are feeder buses. Restrict you to the arterial corridors. There are so many feeder routes along that corridor. And we have had series of meetings with them, stakeholders forum, that is led by Honorable Sholagiwa.
However, many commuters fear the policy could lead to longer wait times and higher fares.
I'm not sure because it's not going to be enough for them. Because staying inside, how many people are inside?
No, see one group, what do you want? If the motor come now, so we, like some people now, they don't get money, they don't get connection, we go connect them, we will go collect the motor. Now, what they think that? At least may poor people, they Lagos now, but only rich people go there Lagos.
Corporate used to help us, we individual. Because government, if they say they want to bring it, it's going to affect us. Because how many buses used to come to Epe, Eleko, Ibeju? But this Korope, their amount is cheaper.
Not be by force. Now the one where you desire or where you feel like entering, you go enter. Because one, if you check all this motor now, 98% of them to me, they are under hire purchase and they are using it to feed their families.
It's a bad measure because if you look at it, if the government should bring their own buses and chase these people inside, it will not really serve the people. These buses has been making it easy in terms of transport for the masses. And if government should bring their own buses now, it will be very difficult for the masses to meet up.
Though calm has returned, tensions persist as drivers and authorities continue talks on the future of bus operations along the corridor. In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
The ban on illegal mining, night grazing, farm destruction, underage grazing, livestock poisoning, among others, have been reiterated by the commander of Operation Enduring Peace, Major General Folusho Onyilola. Major Onyilola, who also doubles as the General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division, identified these acts as major triggers of insecurity in Plateau State. Chizoba Anyowe tells us more in this report.
These are key stakeholders in Riom and Jos South local government areas of Plateau State. Over the past 20 years, wanton killings and attacks linked to cattle rustling, night and farmland grazing, farm destruction, among others, have been the story on their lips. They are tired of the attacks and seasons of insecurities in their land. Against this backdrop, the need for a secure and peaceful farming season is at the heart of their interaction here with the commander of Operation Enduring Peace and the General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Folusho Onyilola.
Traditional, religious and community leaders must remain at the forefront of dialogue and mediation between agreed parties. All family and herding communities should also sensitize their members, especially the youth, to consciously avoid actions such as farm destruction, cattle poisoning, or attacks on livestock, which often serve as triggers for violent crises.
The Army Chief reaffirmed the commitment of the military in sustaining the relative peace in the state while harping on the need for a successful farming season. Key stakeholders also lent their voices to the calls for sustained peace at all costs.
With this stakeholders' engagement, once I'm renewed, we are renewed. Because we are renewed, we are going to build it again.
So I would like to advise that solutions to problems like the ones we are facing lies with us and not even with security agencies.
I want to assure you, we as stakeholders continue to get us of get earlier rate. We're making sure that people of the South and the local government witness a peaceful farming season without any fight between farmers and traders.
The GOC also performed a symbolic presentation of fertilizers to both Christian and Fulani farmers as gesture approved by the Chief of Defense Staff, signifying Nigerian military support for a peaceful farming season. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba Aniuwi.
Many thanks, Chizoba. Still ahead tonight. Police arrest late Robert Mugabe's son following killing of a gardener in his Johannesburg home. More when we return. Africa's tech conversation takes center stage at the 2026 Lagos Tech Fest, where industry leaders, investors, and innovators discuss opportunities, challenges, and the future of the continent's digital economy. Placidia Ibuikulie has the story.
Startup founders, policymakers, and tech executives from across Africa and beyond gathered for the 6th edition of Lagos Tech Fest. The event served as a platform for debates on innovation, investment, and growth of Africa's digital economy.
Some companies they undermine the importance of transparency, right? As much as people want to grow globally and all of that, a lot of companies should pay attention in what happens back end. Do you understand? Being transparent.
A session themed the relentless need for exits in Africa noted that while startup creation and funding are rising, the continent still faces gaps in exit opportunities. Panelists stressed that scalable, innovative solutions to uniquely African problems are key to attracting long-term investment.
I think yes, the buyer market is thin, but beyond that, I don't think we have that many exit-ready companies that are churning the revenues that they need to churn to be attractive.
The spaces of fintech and more infrastructural in terms of like healthcare, agric. Africa has African problems, and the more we kind of deep dive into those problem statements, we will find solutions that you can build that can potentially, render the current solutions outdated in no time.
Venue for us to, for example, understand exactly where the market is headed, what people are building, what solutions people are sort of like doing. Implementing at this point in time, and how we can also sort of help to solve that.
Panels focused on emerging technologies, financial inclusion, regulation, and startup growth. Discussions highlighted structural market conditions and emerging opportunities that can unlock success.
As a founder, I'm aware that I need to build in a sustainable manner, so I'm not going to cut corners when it comes to compliance or regulatory requirements, because I know that I'm building to scale.
Small and medium enterprises don't have financing, all right? And without the lack of resources, it enables them not to be as efficient as they require. Now, the efficiency comes by using the AI because it uses that leverage of the modules of the AI to cater to that same cost that will be catered to pay maybe a data analyst or a data processor in this case. So the leverage in this case will be how to embed now the AI to their businesses to be able to leverage and get better profits, better outputs, better consumed.
Stakeholders concluded that strengthening exit strategies will be critical to sustaining investor confidence and unlocking long-term growth across Africa's tech ecosystem. In Lagos, for News Central, Placidia Ibuikunie.
The federal government is raising fresh concerns over the country's rising cost of debt servicing, saying the burden is being driven more by expensive borrowing rates than by questions of debt sustainability. Finance Minister Adewale Edun made the clarification while addressing members of the Senate Committee on Appropriation during an interactive session on the proposed 51.8 trillion naira 2026 budget. The government says developing countries like Nigeria are facing disproportionately high interest rates in the international financial market, a development it believes is worsening fiscal pressures and increasing the cost of managing existing loans.
No less a personality than His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has dived in to that all-important area and called for an African credit rating agency. He's calling for affordable financing. Once you have affordable financing, you're home and dry. So the issue of the not being able to predict interest rate, the President believes in the, so I'll call it the autonomy, independence of central bank under the law.
The crux of the matter, which is what I hear from all conversation here, is that why is budget not being funded? And the answer is also in this room. It is what I think, by God's grace, we will correct this year.
A detailed breakdown of the entire 15.19 trillion. But before then, speak to the budget performance of the previous year, which is that of 2025. And from there, we dovetail into 2026.
Glad you're still with us. Outside Nigeria now, South African police have arrested Bellarmine Chatunga Mugabe, youngest son of late Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe, after a gardener was shot at his Johannesburg home. Two men face attempted murder charges following the Thursday shooting in the upscale Hyde Park suburb. The victim remains in critical condition as investigations continue. Police confirm a spent cartridge was recovered, but motive remains unclear, and Chatunga's history of violent incidents in Zimbabwe. Britain's King Charles III has backed the arrest of his brother and former UK Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, noting that the law must take its course. Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. In a statement shared by Buckingham Palace, the monarch said, quote, "What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation," end quote. Alexander von Rugen is a global policy analyst. He joins me now for his perspective on Andrew's arrest. Thank you for being here. How does Prince Andrew's arrest reflect on the British royal family's handling of allegations of misconduct and abuse, particularly in light of the Epstein scandal?
Well, I think you have to take a look at what the status is of the British family right now. Their popularity is at an all-time low. They've had multiple scandals, from the death of Princess Di, King Charles' marriage to his longtime mistress, Prince Harry basically abdicating to move to America. This is kind of like the final nail in the coffin. To have that semblance of integrity and retain the royal image, which in the past was the highest level of diplomatic immunity. No one could challenge the king. or members of the royal family. I think the handling right now is going to be very careful for King Charles in the eyes of the United Kingdom and its people, and everything's got to be done by the book with full cooperation and to show that integrity that the royal house abides by the laws of the land. So that's the stance that they're taking at this point. I mean, it's been 400 years since a monarch's been arrested in England. Back, I think it was King Charles I back in 1647. So it's precedented, but kind of unprecedented.
Investigators have reportedly reviewed new evidence in the case. Can you speculate a bit on what kind of evidence might have led to Prince Andrew's arrest, and how does this impact his defense strategy?
Well, it's got nothing to do with the sexual scandals at Epstein's lairs in the islands. This has got to do with classified documents when Prince Andrew was a special business envoy for the British government, traveling to Singapore, China, Vietnam, and getting case reports from his assistants and emailing them to Jeffrey Epstein within minutes of receiving them. More importantly, in 2010, I think it was December, he had access to a report on Helmand province in Afghanistan. This was a confidential file for the redevelopment and investment of the UK for special industrial projects in the rebuilding of Afghanistan, as well as access to information on critical sites for mining of gold, uranium, and oil. Those were shared with Epstein within 5 minutes of receiving them, according to the timestamp on the emails. That is a violation of the Secrets Act in England, and that is the nature of these charges. Now, in addition, there's additional in the data dump from the U.S. Department of Justice. There's additional pictures and photos of Andrew with redacted faces of young women. That could lead to other criminal charges in a sexual conduct manner. But as far as England is concerned, these are relative to national security in England and of the nation.
All right, Andrew. Alexander, thank you very much for speaking with us.
My pleasure, as always.
We'll be back with business, sports, and entertainment news. Stay with us.
Talking business now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has cautioned that the rapid expansion of digital payment systems could pose risks to foreign exchange stability if not properly managed, officials said at a G24 meeting. The CBN governor highlighted concerns that increasing digital transaction volumes may elevate demand for foreign currency and fuel volatility in FX markets. Policymakers called for stronger coordination of monetary and regulatory frameworks to balance innovation with financial stability. Let's also tell you that Kenya has returned to the international debt market with a dual tranche US dollar bond to support a $500 million Eurobond buyback and refinancing strategy, officials said. The issue comes as borrowing costs decline and investor interest in African sovereign debt remains strong. The sovereign offered buyback tenders for its 2028 and 2032 Eurobonds and plans to use proceeds from the new 7- and 12-year dollar bonds to smooth its debt profile. The move follows recent activity from other African issuers tapping global markets amid favorable conditions and strong demand for high-yield emerging market debt. And looking at stock markets, the NGX extended its positive momentum as the all-share index rose 1.39% to close at 193,073.57 points, lifting market capitalization to 123.93 trillion naira. And today's trading, we saw selective pockets of strong demand driving sectoral gains. We now look at the performance, starting with the banking sector that led the charge, this time around climbing 2.63%, with some heavyweights seeing renewed buying interest. Insurance added 0.5% right here, a measured advance as we see as investors rotated cautiously within the sector. Oil and gas dipped for the first time, 0.11% in about 2 weeks, as we have seen showing minimal movement. Consumer goods rose 0.54%, supported by defensive plays in names like Nestle Nigeria. Industrial goods inched up 0.29%, with Dangote Cement quietly holding the ground. That's it on business. I am Lekon Onabanjo.
Hello and welcome to sports. Now, head coach of Nigeria's Super Falcons, Justin Madugu, has announced a list of 25 players for the team's doubleheader friendlies against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. The 10-time African champions are set to face Cameroon in 2 friendly matches as part of preparations ahead of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, which kicks off in Morocco on the 17th of next month. Both teams will clash in Yaoundé on February the 28th and March the 3rd. Captain Rasheedat Ajibade, goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie, defenders Ashley Prompter, Michelle Alozie, and forward Esther Koronko are some of the regulars called up, while star forward and 6-time Africa Women's Player of the Year Asisat Oshoala is the most noticeable absentee from the list. Midfielder Ngozi Okobi makes a return after 3 years, while Gift Monday also returns to the squad. The Nigeria Premier Football League has imposed heavy sanctions on Kwara United following crowd violence that marred their matchday 22 rearranged fixture against Rivers United in Ilorin. In a sweeping disciplinary decision, the Ilorin-based club was fined 9 million naira, deducted 3 points and 3 goals, and ordered to play the rest of their home matches this season at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta. The club has also been directed to produce supporters involved in the violence for arrest and prosecution and have 48 hours to appeal the ruling. Now, the sanctions follow an earlier public apology from Kwara United after the match descended into chaos. And the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, on Thursday briefed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja on the commission's 2025 performance and 2026 plans. Diko said the president expressed satisfaction with the progress and reaffirmed support for building a sustainable sports economy. He revealed Nigeria won nearly 375 medals in 2025, with sports contributing 1.2% to GDP in Q3. About 50 billion naira in private funding was attracted, while 140,000 jobs were created across the sector. He highlighted the Renewed Hope initiative for Nigeria's sports economy, grassroots reforms, and revived school competitions in collaboration with the Education Ministry. On football, Diko confirmed the Nigeria Football Federation had filed complaints with FIFA over alleged World Cup qualification breaches, with independent committees handling the case.
Sport is now not just being measured about the medals, it's being measured about what you contribute, the GDP, how much those you created. Last year we induced almost about 140,000 jobs, both direct, indirect, and induced across all the sporting ecosystem. And already we have a partnership, a collaborative partnership with the Ministry of Education. Myself and the Minister of Education are co-chair, so that we can bring back the school sports the way it should be, the Nuga games, the principal calls and everything. A committee already working on that. And if you look at the budget 2026, there's already provision for that. So we are really on track to do that. And we know we have a definitive directive to our sporting federation.
And that's all on sports news tonight. Entertainment is up next with Kate.
Tonight, in the world of entertainment, a federal high court in Lagos has issued an interim Mareva injunction restraining the Musical Copyright Society of Nigeria, MCSN, from accessing copyright levy funds collected on behalf of right holders. Justice Ambrose Lewis Alagua approved the order on February 19, 2026, following an ex parte application filed on February 5 by the Record Label Proprietors Initiative and 11 major music companies, including Maven Records, Davido Music Worldwide, and Chocolate City Music. The plaintiffs argue that the levy collected on storage devices such as blank CDs and flash drives belongs directly to right holders and should not be controlled or disbursed by MCSN. The court has adjourned the matter to March 12, 2026, while ordering the financial institutions to file affidavits confirming compliance. British singer and songwriter Ray has achieved a major career milestone as her single Husband earns platinum certification in the United States from the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. The platinum plaque signifies 1 million units in combined sales and streaming equivalent, marking Ray's first solo song to reach that benchmark in the American market. Released as the lead single from her upcoming project, the track previously topped the UK singles chart and climbed to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, her highest solo peak in the US to date. Now that's all on entertainment news for tonight. My name is Kate Adeogun.
And just before we wrap things up, a quick reminder of our top stories. Rivers Assembly has suspended impeachment proceedings against Governor Fubara and his deputy. The DSS has closed case against 5 defendants standing trial over 2022 attack on All Catholic Church. And King Charles III has backed brother's arrest, noting Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor must face the law. Do send us your eyewitness report to the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on social media as well at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 223, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. Good night.